Thank you very much for being here. My hope by presenting what we are doing in Echirolles is for you who are mainly from companies to understand the way we work, the way we organize things, and maybe the way we could collaborate better, because we try to organize ourselves. We know that companies are trying to organize themselves through foundations and different organizations, but the link between the two, between local authorities and those foundations, is thin, and I think it's something that we need to work on. So we are going to talk about Echirolles, which is a little city near Grenoble. 37,000 people live there. The implementation of open source software in Echirolles began with a political will from elected officials. They realized that open source and free software were the values most closely aligned with those of public service. They also realized that open source software could address important issues with which you're all familiar: respect for personal data, digital sovereignty, and reduce environmental impact. Okay, so that was really the political will of the team in Echirolles. From 2014 to 2020, the political will was there, but the projects didn't really follow. It was hard to implement open software within the community. And at the end of the last mandate, so in 2020, they decided to change the way they work, and they took a few actions. They decided that a strategy was needed. So they decided to do 4 things. They decided first to create a working group of elected representatives on digital issues. So each councillor talked to the others and explained what digital technology meant to their area of responsibility. So what does it mean for social help? What does it mean for human resources, and so on? So they had this work done. Second, a study was conducted within the city on digital technology within the city. So it was done by an external provider. Third, they decided to hire a digital strategy manager, which is the position I hold. And then they decided that the city council should vote on the strategy that would be made. So that's what is shown there, the 3 entries, and then the master plan that I had to work, that was finally voted by the council, and a few action plans and methodologies were, how could I say, built based on this master plan. There's a very good idea. The best idea they come up with was to attach the IT department to this strategy department. Okay, so that the link between the political will and the concrete projects would be maintained during the mandate. So that's the way they organize things. So you have the organization chart here with the mayor, the general manager, the digital strategy direction, and the IT department. It's a very important point for us to succeed. Okay, the strategy is really what makes the difference between success and failure. Political will is not enough. You have to work with the internal teams. One of the important things to do in the town hall was to raise awareness without forgetting that open source is not the objective. Open source is a mean, it is not what we want to do. What we want to do is to have the best public services for people in Echirolles. Okay, that's the first very important thing. The second thing is it's a cultural change to make. So you have to go slowly, to take your time. If you decide, for example, that 80% of all PCs must be using Linux within 2 years, it's going to fail. Okay. The best way to deal with that is to have no target date and then to adapt your implementation based on the resistance that you have to face when deploying. Okay, and then instead of asserting things, asking people to change in a violent way, it's better, of course, to show that all the IT stuff are going to work much better with the new tools that you propose to deploy than before. Okay. The way to deal with the resistance that you could have to deal with in the organization is to first deploy, to start your deployment based on volunteer people. You just ask people, for example, if you decide that Linux is going to be implemented, you first ask, okay, do any public service agent know Linux and are willing to test a Linux PC with us? Okay, and you start working with people who are volunteer, and this way, Linux starts becoming a subject within the community, with no people being obliged to use it, being forced to use it. Then when you start this work really fast, when you talk with economic partners, the question of contributions comes. How could a city contribute to the projects that they use on a daily basis? And it's really, really not easy. I don't know if you have local authorities in your customer file, but being paid, having a command and so on is not easy. It's really not easy. And there's the thing about open source and free software is free, as in free beer, it's free. Okay, so explaining to the management that we are going to contribute even financially is not always easy. The way to contribute for us, the way we found out to contribute to the project was first to pay for software support on the main projects, on the main software that we are using. So purchase support contract and pay for help in setting up the software. Okay. Most of the time we don't need that help, to be honest, and most of the time we don't need that support because we have a team with skills and they know how to maintain the software, they know how to implement it, to train users and so on. But this, paying for a support contract is something that we are used to do. It's something that everybody knows. Everybody knows that when you buy a software, you have to pay a support contract most of the time. And it's true for proprietary software, of course. So an easy way to contribute is, even if you don't need it, to take such a support contract. And that's what we do. Another way to contribute is we have a coder inside the team. And we decided that 20% of his work time would be dedicated to online contribution to the projects that we are using internally. We decided also that the communication effort was important internally for our users and other managers and other services and so on, but also externally, because one of the problems that we have is that there's no advertising, no marketing on TV or whatever on free software products. So it's not very easy for us to find out tools that fit our needs on a daily basis. So we have to communicate on the tools that we use, and we have to share with other local authorities so that we are aware of the existing tool to fit our needs. Okay. So we are doing this. We are on this trip, and the next step, what we are working on, is trying to federate at different levels. Technical federation. We use tools that are made to be federated through protocols like ActivityPub and so on that you probably know. We use Mastodon, we use PeerTube, we use Nextcloud, and all those tools can be federated. This means that we could interface with other local authorities, other public partners, and, for example, share our directory and easily share files and this kind of things. We think that geographic federation are important, and we started building this. So around Grenoble, we have a team that's called Alpes Numériques Libres, where most CIOs of the local authorities around the area meet and share ideas and tools and good practices. At the national level, of course, through associations like the ADULACT, which is a well-known association for local authorities about free software. And internationally, we participate also in Open Forum, the famous OSOR, O-S-O-R, at the European level, and we try also to share the way we work at Echirolles. And the missing federation is what I was talking about at the very beginning of this presentation, is how we could federate those federations of actors within the different domains, so economic actors, local authorities, and so on. How can we work together so that when we need support, when we need information about software and so on, we don't have to, contact individual companies one after the others to get information about their products and to make sure that they fit their need or not. So I think there's a missing piece here, so that local authorities and economical partners can exchange about their respective needs. I think I'm done. For more information, you have those two URL where all these things are much detailed. Okay, so feel free to go there, and you'll have many details about the way we are organized in Echirolles. That's it. Thank you very much.